Okay, guys, let's whip through the first day of review. So this is unit test number 1 and unit test number 1, part 2. So both from chapter 1, but two different tests. Day 1 of review here. Let's go. So how do you factor here? Common factor here. Oh, let me change this to red. Simple trinomial here. Australian method or decomposition here. Go through your notes. Here, you're going to common factor the 3 out. You're left with this, and this is a difference of squares. Okay, so we're going to whip through all this stuff. Factor everything, and then cross out from the top and the bottom. X plus 6, X plus 6. And you're left with X plus 2, and you're done. And your restrictions go here. So this is minus 2 plus 2 and minus 6. Minus 2 plus 2 and minus 6. If this was a division question, that's multiplying, so that's how you can do what we just did. If it was division, the last thing you would have done is flipped, or before you cross out, you would have flipped. Don't forget to state restrictions before and after you flip. Here, this one's a little tricky. Common factor, and then different squares, factor. Two terms on the bottom, two terms on the bottom. You need a common denominator. Careful, if you look at this, this is minus 1, so that's x minus 1. So this factors to x minus 1, x plus 1. You notice there's an x minus 1 on top and x minus 1 on the bottom, and I'm left with 4 over x plus 1. Now my common denominator will be x plus 1. X plus 1, good. And I need an x minus 3 over here. That's where I bring this x minus 3 on top and the bottom. Multiply out, get 4x minus 12 plus x minus, or plus 7, and then collect like terms, and you're done. Okay, next. You're going to graph these. You need to know how to graph a x squared, a parabola. You need to know how to graph the root x, which looks like a sideways parabola, half of one. You need to know how to graph a line, which is just x, and you need to know how to graph 1 over x. The 1 over x looks something like this with the asymptotes. Remember, they look like this. Okay, centered at 0, 0, with key points of 1, 1, and minus 1, minus 1. So this you might want to look over. Doesn't come up on this review. The vertex here is 3 minus 3, and it opens down. So once you sketch that, you realize your domain is x to real number. You also have a restriction to your range. Y has to be less than or equal to -3. Here you have a fake vertex, or not a fake vertex. You have what is similar to a vertex at -3. Change the sign -1. You go sideways, draw the top. X is a real number. X is greater than or equal to -3. You get that from sketching. Sketch, then get your domain. My range, I need to be up here. I need to be above -1. They're both functions because they pass the vertical line test. I know I'm going quickly, but we got lots to do here. Sub in a 1 here to find g at 1. Sub in a 0 for both x's to find g at 0. This is 2g at -2, so this really means 2 times g at -2. Find g at -2 by subbing in -2 in for x squared and x here. Then you get, this is wrong, it's plus, that's a 6. 2 times 12, 6 is 12. Okay, so that's page 1. Page 2. I'm going to switch this around to 9 and 2. What you ask yourself is, what perfect square? You're looking for perfect squares. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 2, 3 squared is 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, what's that, 7, 8 is 64, 81, and 100. So any of these numbers go into what's under the root sign, you get them out. So for example, there's 18. 18 is divisible by 9, so I have 9 and 2. So when I have root 9 times 2, all under the root sign, that root 9 becomes 3, and then I have root 2 here. Here I have an 8. The biggest number that goes, a perfect square that goes into 8 is 4. Take that out, that's 2. I already had 3 in front, so 3 times 2 is 6, and I'm left with this root 2 under here. Same thing here, I get this 5 out, root 25, sorry, is 5, and then I have 2 times 5 is 10, and then I collect like terms. This isn't done. I collect like terms. There's 3 and 6 is 9 root 2s. I have -1 root 2s, or -10 root 2s, so in total I have -1 root 2s. Here I multiply, so I go 3 times root 2, or 3 root 2 times root 2 is 3 root 4. 3 root 4 becomes 3 times 2, which is 6. This just stays the way it is. Here I have a difference of squares, so it's this times, I have the first term squared minus the second term squared. Root 3 squared is root 3 times root 3, which is root 9, which is 3. This is then going to be 4 times 4 is 16. 16 root 4, which is 16 times 2, which is this, and then collect those, or clean that up, and you end up with that. How do you get rid of the root sign here? On the bottom, we don't want a root sign here. Simple question. First thing you do is you just multiply by root 2 and root 2. Whatever's down here, you get rid of it by multiplying what's down here, and you end up with this. Here, what you're going to use is the power of difference of squares to get rid of the root signs. So I have 1 minus root 7. I'm going to go 1 plus root 7. That'll clean up and get rid of all the roots, and you end up with this here. Okay, so what you're going to do is FOIL this out. That times that, that times that, that times that, and then that times that. Those are these 4 terms here. Collect like terms, and you're done. Find the roots. Quadratic formula. Okay, this is minus, what is in here is minus 13 all squared. And then work your way through it. Okay, quadratic formula will be given to you. You end up with 13 plus 15 over 4 and minus 4, and 13 minus 15 over 4. 28 over 4, which is minus 7.5. 4, tough question. Okay, step 1. You want to find this equation given these zeros. So you set it up like this in factored form. The zeros are minus 3 and 1, so when you put them in, change the signs, x plus 3, x minus 1, because it's set up with negatives built into the equation. Then you sub in the point that you know. The point that you know is the y-intercept of -9, which is also means that it goes through 0, -9. So it goes through -9, sub that in, and I kept messing this up here. So that's -9, -9. And then you have -9, 0. There's your y, there's your x. Okay, so there's your y, there's your x. Sub those in, and you end up with -3. A is equal to -9. So A is then 3. And then this 3 goes here, back in front of the equation. This is your root. This is your root. And you're done. Okay, so that's that. I know I'm whipping through it. Let's find the system of linear equations. Don't forget, there's individual videos on all this stuff. You can find it on our site. So set these equal to each other. They intersect when they're equal. When do they hit? When they're equal, set them equal to each other. Bring that 5, I have minus 6x, and then I have an x here. Bring that over. I'm at minus 7x. I have plus 1. I bring that -5 over. I end up with plus 6. Then you can use the quadratic formula or whatever to factor this. I end up with x minus 6 and x minus 1. So those are my 2 x values. That's great. But now I have to find the y values for each of them. X minus 6 and x minus 1 give me x values of 6 and 1. Change the sign. Those are my points of intersection for the x values. Sub those. So sub x minus 6 into equation number 2 to find the y value. So I go y is equal to 6 minus 5, which is 1. Okay, and that's just a coincidence that 1 and that 1, they have nothing to do with each other. 6, 1 is 1 point. The other point is when I sub 1 in to number 2, equation number 2. So I go 1 minus 5 is minus 4. 1, and then my point is then, oh no, my mouse stopped working. Okay, so we'll keep going here. What's going on here? Hold on. See if I can fix this real quick. You might hear a beep noise. Come on, computer. Moby. That's a beep. Definitely a beep. I've lost power. I've lost power. Anyway, well, let's keep going here. Anyway. Okay. Keep scrolling down. I'll just talk then, which I'm good at. I think I changed this in class to make this a plus 10. Here, I did. So that's plus 10. That's plus 10. That's minus 80 here, and this is minus 79. Okay, so using the discriminant now to figure out how many roots there are. Don't forget a discriminant. Discriminant is what is under the root sign in the quadratic formula. So b squared minus 4ac. You sub in your a, b's, and c's. In the first one, you have here I have -1 as my first a, and then -6 as my b, and then -2 as my c. Sub those in into b squared. Oh, there we go. Into b squared minus 4ac, and then I get a positive value. Therefore, I get 2 roots. Here, I get a negative value. If I change that to a plus 10, I get a negative value. So I have no roots. Okay, because if you have discriminant greater than 0, you have 2 roots. Equal to 0, 1 root. Less than 0, no roots. And the last one here, I have it equals 0. It's 36 minus 36, and I have 1 root. Okay. So let's keep going before things break again. Let's switch to green for fun. What's the max height? I need to complete the square. Okay, I need to find the vertex. How do you find the vertex? You complete the square. Step 1, really remember 21 has nothing to do with this. So I take my equation here, I factor out the a, I end up with this. Then the next step is to take plus and minus half of the -6. So half of -6 is -3. So plus and minus half of that squared. So plus minus 3 squared minus -3 squared. And then this whole little bit here, so this guy here is a perfect square, and it turns into t minus 3. So that -3 is that -3 here. This is minus -3 squared, so -3 squared is 9, and then minus is -9. Then I multiply by -3, and I end up with 27. Okay, so -3 goes in front of this, and negative 3 times negative 9 is plus 27, sorry, plus 27 plus 21 is 48. That's a plus 48, okay? So that's a little mistake there too. So there is my equation. I have a vertex then of 348, which means that my maximum height is 48 meters, and that takes place at 3 seconds. That's like an arrow there, okay? So my max is at 48 at 3 seconds. Okay, where am I at 5 seconds? I sub 5 into the equation and I get 36 meters. Okay, that's simple. And then where do you get the zeros? You need to factor. You need to find your zeros here. When does it hit the ground? Sorry, when does it hit the ground? You need the zeros. Quadratic formula, whatever you need to do, Australian method, blah, 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 whatever. And you end up with 7, not blah, blah, blah. 7 minus 1 are my two zeros. So if we graphed it like this, I would have something like this, minus 1 and 7. This is not hitting, this is hitting at 7, so the answer is 7. The negative 1 doesn't work. And is that it? That's it. Wow. Woo! 11 minutes. Well, we got time to spare. I can tell a joke if I knew any. Actually, I did have a joke here about the nautical and aviation laws, but it was very unpopular, so we'll just pretend that didn't exist. Anyway, see you soon. Take care. That's day 1 of review. Bye.